Nevím, co to je za planetu tady, ale Země to není. Dokonce to tady mají značený, ty vole. To jsou věci. Hotová dálnice. Tady je oficiální kempoviště. 10 ráno. On celý den se kopá do zadku. Asi popojdu trošku vejš. Se to zakempím tamhle nějak na hřebínku. Nebo ne. Potřebuju srát. Tak to nechám tady. Tak to by byl Basecamp. Kota 5.2. Všechno v pohodě. Asi bych vůbec neměl problém si to vyběhnout za den. Ale tak je to první 6 kopeček. Tak jsem to chtěl udělat správně. Tak nastal čas na Maté de Coca. Producto peruano. Pták na lovu. Teď už ale fakt sněží, ty vole. Asi se zavřu. A to síno a humádo. Mňam, mňam, mňam. No. Nikdo další nepřišel. Což je skvělá zpráva. To totiž znamená, že tady kopeček budu mít minimálně z téhle strany zítra sám pro sebe. No, akorát škoda, že kamera se nedá tenhle výhled. Protože to je kurva výhled, přestože je noc. Za hoďku bude světlo. Pojď, mozole. Je tady kláda, ty vole. Půl 8. Kouta 5700 asi. Už půl hoďky se tady rozmražu. Dva kroky vzhůru a jeden krok zpět. Už ročí sněhem, ty vole. Drží víc než tady ta sopečná srajda. Větrný klid. To kurva potřebuju. Cvičány. To asi nebyl ideální postup, ale určitě zábavný. Kurva, vítr. Tady kaldera. Není úplně to. Superman 86, ty krávo, dobrý. To mám slušnou rezervu. To ještě může o 2000 veš. OK. Tak co tyhle srandy? To vezmu kolem kaldery zpátky. Bude zajímavější. Tak dva páčačány. 6057 to má. Si to vygoogloval. Tak. To by byla druhá strana kaldery. To tady žlutý. Síra. Nová tě. Já jsem přišel tudy. Ale myslím, že správná cesta je tady. Tak naposled. Tak to by bylo. Jako jsem nakonec fakt rád, že jsem si šáhl hluboko do kapsy a zařídil jsem si privátní transport. Protože ty vole, moje hora, totální samota, totální svoboda, tak to má být. Tamhle v průsmyku na mě čeká odvoz. A ještě jednou jsem kurevsky rád, že jsem si to zařídil po svým. Protože teď jsem potkal tak 50 lidí, co šli proti mě do basecampu. Ty vole, to byla naprostá špič. Naprostá špička tohle. To je fakt totální pustina tady.
So a quick description and guide for this little adventure. So to climb Chechany, there are tours going from guided tours going from Arequipa, like all the time. Basically, if you look up around the city center, the Plaza de Armas, there are plenty of tourist offices, like these icons here, Nativa Trips, whatever, travel agency. Yeah, it's many of them. Oh, by the way, I'm using mapui.cz, which is a map that hasn't failed me yet, and it hasn't failed me on this trip either. So you can book a guided tour for as cheap as 150 soles, but there are issues with these guided hikes or slash climbs, I guess, but it's more of a hike really. And that is they all go in the same day. It's just all the tourist offices agree on a day, and they just transport everyone at once there. And the second issue is the schedule. Again, all the tours, all the guided tours have the same schedule, and it's a terrible schedule. And the schedule, I think, isn't. It has something to do with the cars, so they can maybe use them in the afternoons for something else, or maybe for some maintenance. It has nothing to do with, climbing the mountain, as best as possible. Anyway, so the schedules of these tours are that the first day, all of the tours are 2 days, that the first day they pick you up at hotel and drive you up to a parking spot. I think all of them, or most of them at least, are going on the northern route, which is this path. So the parking spot is all the way up here, and at like 11 a.m. I guess the tours drop everyone there, and yeah, they just start, go to base camp, which is hour and a half, 2 hours at most, and just stay there the whole day. And at 2 a.m. they start the climb, which is a 5-hour climb, unless there is some very snowy conditions, which in dry season there just aren't. I think this kind of a schedule is just to torture the poor people who booked the guided hike. So actually, when I was going around town asking, like every tour agency said Saturday we are going, so that made me not wanna go on Saturday. I ended up going with a second and much more expensive option, which is to book a private transport. Just agreed time there and back again. It's like 600 soles at least for a car, so you can split it between more people. And I was honestly willing to pay that, which is like I guess 4 times more than you pay for the guided hikes. But the added value of having my own schedule and also being alone on the mountain, which of course isn't guaranteed you aren't gonna be alone, but if you go on a day when there is no tour, there is at least gonna be significantly less people. Anyway, so there are 2 routes, like the standard easy non-mountaineering routes up Chechani. It seems like the standard one, and most tours are going on the northern one, which is this path, and there is also the eastern one, which is here. And on the northern one there is much less probability of snow in the dry season. In the eastern one, as I saw it from the summit, like all these ridges were white, so ice/snow. So the eastern route, I think, more often will require some mountaineering equipment like ice axe and crampons, but it's still a hike. Anyway, I didn't have an ice axe, so I went to the northern route. I actually think in hindsight that it's much better to do this as a day hike, but it was my first 6,000 meter peaks. I wanted to do it the right way, so I just stayed one night at the base camp. So my hike ended up going like this. At 6 a.m. I got into a car in Arequipa. At like 9, it's like a 3-hour drive. I was dropped off here at this parking spot, and if you don't have a high clearance vehicle, there's no way to drive up this road. It was really rough. So yeah, I don't know about the road to the eastern path. I'm not even sure where the parking. Oh, there is the parking spot. So I'm not sure about here. Maybe it's a bit better. But for the northern route, yeah, you really need a high clearance vehicle. Anyway, so 9 a.m. I'm here, and I just walked to the base camp. I was there in an hour, so it's like a bit down, and there's a bit of a rock field, a stone field here, and then up. Like the parking spot is a bit more than 5,000 meters, and the base camp is a bit less than 5,200. And by the way, only thing special about the base camp here is that there's lots of flat ground, because otherwise there is no water on the mountain or any facilities, of course. So we can camp anywhere. It's just that here you have guaranteed flat spots, and higher up it may be tougher to find some. So at 10 a.m. at the base camp, and I have the whole day to just enjoy being alone in the mountains. So because I actually ended up being absolutely alone the whole 2 days. So yeah, at this point actually I was pretty well acclimatized, because I was hiking around Cordillera Blanca and Cordillera Waiwash, at Huaraz, for 4,000, 5,000 meters all the time for 3 weeks. So I think it was much better for me to do it as a day hike. So the next day I started climbing at like 5 a.m. In hindsight, I should have just waited for the sunrise, because yeah, it would have been much warmer and it would be much more pleasant climb. My hands and feet were freezing, in spite of gloves, you know, and boots. It just yeah, it just wasn't pleasant until the sun came up. After the sun started shining properly at like 7:30 a.m. It was all good. So I had to climb all the way up. It was a bit over 5 hours for me, but that was including a lot of stops because very often behind some wind cover I just stop for 20-30 minutes and enjoy the sun. So I think if you are fit and if you are just going and not fucking around, you can climb that in 3 hours. Acclimatized, of course. Anyway, so it was very nice. The summit crater with a lot of snow, I guess a small glacier. And on the way back, I actually put on my micro spikes up in the crater because I was walking around the crater a bit on like the snow and ice. And when I was going down, I was thinking to myself, I'm super dumb. I should have used the micro spikes on the way up as well, because it's mostly scree, and it was 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So I think like small crampons are pretty useful here going up, even if there isn't any snow. So anyway, down I was in like hour and a half, an hour actually maybe. It was pretty fast, I was gliding a little bit on the scree when possible, and so at like 11:30 I'm at the base camp, and I actually agreed on the car to be there to pick me up at 3 p.m. So I had some more time at the base camp, so I had some tea, a nap, and packed up, and at like 2:20 p.m. I was at the parking spot, and the car was actually already there. Well, actually, while I was going from the base camp back to the parking spot, I met like 20 people. Those were the guided tours that just came up. So I had the mountain to myself, and the next day there would have been dozens of people. So absolutely amazing. Anyway, yeah, just drove down, and at like 5:30 p.m. I'm at Arequipa. And as I said at the beginning, I think it's better to do it as a day hike. If you book a private transport, at 5 you start at Arequipa, at 8 you are at the parking spot, at like 1 p.m. you are on the summit, at 3 you are back on the parking spot. So there you have 3 hours of light in reserve, and you do it light as a day hike, because if you are fit and acclimatized, then it's not huge, because it's just 1,000 meters up and down, and it's pretty close. If you aren't acclimatized, then consider if one sleepless night at 5,200 meters is gonna help you, or maybe do the opposite. So yeah, that was Chichani. I really loved it.